Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever Circle of Friends Fireside Chat. I'm Valerie Menzel and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce the wonderful Jim Shore.
Hi everybody.
So
and hello Valerie.
Hello my
friend. Good to be with you again today.
Always a pleasure to be here. And tonight we have some very exciting news. We've been talking about the Circle of Friends website, which is relatively new. And all you do is go online and put your email in and sign up. So tell us more about the Circle of Friends.
This is a great time of year to be doing this too. You know, we're getting closer to Christmas, and of course the excitement's building. You know, it is in my household. You know, but we've started something based on I guess the request of a lot of folks out there who, you know, share our enthusiasm for the artwork, that have wanted to have something started that typically with collectibles or a collection like this, they'll have what they would consider a collector's club.
Right.
And we didn't want to quite couch it that way. You know, I've always been a little bit reluctant to refer to this thing as a collectible or something, because I want it to be perceived as real.
Right.
You know? And so there's so much enthusiasm, and I've made so many friends. In the years that I've been doing this, you know, interacting with the folks during the signings and, you know, just within my travels and so forth, and having so many wonderful letters and correspondence with folks that we share a commonality here.
A bond.
A bond through the piece, and as you know, they tell me so many different ways that the pieces have. Been used, by them as far as, it might be a celebratory thing of some sort, an anniversary or maybe a graduation, and sometimes it's just a nice gift,
Right.
And sometimes it's the memory of someone maybe that they've lost or something like that. So there's some heartwarming stories and a few heartbreaking stories, but it all touches me.
Yeah.
And so we decided to create what we call Circle of Friends. And this will be an opportunity for the folks out there that wish to participate, and I hope everybody will, to take a little bit of a sort of a sneak peek here at things that interest me, projects that are coming up, the things that are happening in my life, or in my friend's life, or in the family's life, and that sort of thing. And we have some things that will interest them. So things that are available to them, and you can go. We have lists here. We can't afford a teleprompter, so we've got lists.
No, but he has blogs, and there'll be videos of crafts and Jim in the kitchen making recipes. I mean, it really gives you an insight to the man behind the art.
Well, so much of what what you're exposed to is sort of the commercial end of what we do, because obviously we want to give everyone as much of an opportunity to own our pieces as possible. But so many people are interested in the, in the backstory of these pieces, just like I'm interested in the way it touches the hearts of, the folks that collect. So this will be a good opportunity to do that, and like Valerie said, I have a lot of interests, and a lot of interests that are, that are beyond just what I do artistically with the figural pieces, and it includes, cooking and things that I do, interacting with the kids, with the family, and so forth, and you'll be able to see a little bit of that. You'll be able to participate too, because some of the things that I'll do is I'll guide you through some of the craft projects that I do with the kids, and things that I make by hand, and the activities like that I think you'll be interested in, and there's a lot of it that you can do yourself, and I'm going to show you how to do those things as time goes on, and so you'll be right in the middle of everything that is going on in my life, and the projects, the art. And we'll be a little bit closer even than we are right now.
That's right, and there's also discussion groups. I know the Disney discussion group is a huge favorite. So those are also going to be an ongoing thing on the Circle of Friends.
Well, you mentioned Disney. Of course, Disney is it's a big part of the line. I do a co-branding. I think everyone's aware of that. Outside of the core line, which is of course Heartwood Creek, but the relationship that I built with Disney and with the other co-brands, which include Peanuts and now Coca-Cola, and Warner Brothers and Hanna-Barbera, and some of the pieces I've done with the Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, and there's others. I think I've probably left a few out, but
the list
Rudolph.
is too long.
Rudolph is a good one. But those the people who are enthusiastic over that will collect a lot of these pieces, for different reasons. Sometimes it's just a matter that they like my artwork, they like my style, and I'm of course gratified for that, and they'll get the pieces because of that. Some of them are Disney fans.
Right.
Some of them focus in on a particular character, like they might collect anything that's Tinkerbell or anything that's Grumpy, or that sort of thing. So, and people like to interact with other people that share their their enthusiasm and their interests, and I do too.
Yeah.
So that's going to be part of this. So we'll have a good time going forward, and we're always thinking of good and interesting things to to put on there. There you'll have an opportunity to visit me at the house. And right now, of course, we're in my studio, and this is where I do all the creative work and that sort of thing. But at the house with the family during the holidays and that sort of thing, I think you'll be interested and surprised and pleased at how my life goes and the life of my friends and family. So I urge you to get on board and be one of my friends in the circle of friends.
Right, and tonight we actually have something very special going on, a new level of membership, which is called the Inner Circle of Friends, the Inner Circle. So this is something we're very, very excited about, and all you have to do is purchase the kit. And this is available on Circle of Friends, jimshore.com, retailers all over the country, and it'll be ready to be purchased, ongoing. It's not just this evening, but ongoing. And it contains some wonderful items. We have this beautiful Santa, a coordinating canvas that you can see here, the tote bag, a coupon for $5 off. It's a huge value at $60.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for people who are really serious about about sharing in some things with me. We'll have certain activities and certain discussions and things that'll be only between us.
Right, the inner
ones
circle.
that are in the sort of the inner circle, and I'm almost reluctant to refer to it as that's almost like I'm saying the sanctum sanctorum or something, but no, it's just a special way of bringing folks in and showing them a little bit, of some special things and making some things available, to you that are exclusive.
Right.
And so it's a little bit it's a special thing for people who are, serious about, about collecting or sharing their enthusiasm with.
Right, and you'll have special access as an Inner Circle member to certain things. For example, this is not just all of it, the kit. It also comes with downloadable greeting cards, this is a really great idea.
Yeah, and that's kind of an ongoing thing. That sort of thing, and Valerie's going to show you some other stuff here too. That'll be an ongoing project to provide you with things that are based on my artwork, and a lot of this is usable. Like in this case, if it's you download it on cardstock, and you have greeting cards that, of course, you can personalize, and it's got my artwork on it. And she'll show you some.
We also have gift tags, which I think this is a brilliant idea. So it's not just for Christmas; it's for birthdays or just a simple gift that you're giving someone. And it has Jim's artwork on it. And again, you just download it.
Well, what it is, we've done this, for myself and a family forever. I mean, we always make our own cards. We make our own, little tags and that sort of thing. And even some of our own wrapping paper, we make it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's all you get wrapping paper from me, it's one of a kind.
Oh,
you know?
that's great. You get your wrapping paper is a
suitable
work of
for
art.
framing.
Yes, a work of art.
But anyway, that's the kind of thing that we're going to be making available to you, and that and more.
Yes, in fact, coloring pages, your coloring books are very, very popular, and they'll be on there as well, downloadable. We're even having a contest. You can see here the one that Jim did, and then here's the blank one. So if you put that on the Circle of Friends website by January 31st, we'll have a little contest.
And I might add, let me see that one, the colored one.
Yep.
This one, we're showing that actually in a frame. And the nice thing about our approach to the coloring book, and that, as you all know, adult coloring books are kind of a popular item.
Yeah, all the rage lately.
I don't know when they started that, but I've liked it ever since I was a kid.
Well, we miss it as a child, right, with your crayons.
But anyway, typically the ones that you find in so many of the books that that are about adult coloring books, they're so complex that you get burnt out on them, and then after you're finished with them, there's nothing you can really do with them. Well, what we're doing is we're making them actually doable. They're simple enough, where you can sit down and maybe even in an evening finish one. But as you can see, we've got this framed in a rustic frame, and that one has, of course, the border on it, and it's the same picture, but this one includes this decorative border. But they're frameable. I mean, things that you can actually do with them, and you can frame them up, and over time make a montage of them in your wall, or you can give them as gifts and that sort of thing. So they're usable, real pieces of artwork that are a collaboration between you and me. And because this actually, let me tell you how this stuff gets started. When I do a piece, and we'll show you some examples of this a little bit later, but I always start off with a drawing, and that's so I can communicate with anybody else in my team that needs to know what I'm thinking. I'll start off with a very detailed drawing, and we'll do our color work on that too, so that everybody understands what the piece that I'm going to do is going to look like. That way, no matter whether they're in Chicago or they're out in California with the Disney team out there, if I'm talking to them, we're looking at the same thing. That's the object of doing a drawing.
Right.
And typically the drawing is fair detail. And some of these, what we've done is we've done accumulation, or a combination, I should say, with the bordering, the background, little details and so forth, and I put it together like this so that it's a finished piece of artwork rather than just a utility piece. So that's the way that goes. But they're a lot of fun to do. I enjoy doing them myself. And in fact, you might say, I do this on every piece. Now, I have an assistant, Crystal Rose, and we've mentioned her before, and she helps me with the color work, and so she spends all day long coloring.
Yeah.
But that's what we do, and I think you'll enjoy it too.
Absolutely.
But that's one of many things that we're going to provide, just for entertainment, and to maybe teach you a little something, and who knows, maybe we can learn something from you.
And we're also going to have exclusive invitations for future Fireside Chats. This one is going out to everyone tonight, but in the future, only Inner Circle of Friends members will be able to see these Fireside Chats. So it's another wonderful bonus to being part of the group. Let's talk a little bit about this beautiful Santa, because this is a very special piece. I mean, it's what we showed in the drawing, so this is where it started. Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about that one. We won't go into too much detail since we're keeping this short tonight, but tell us a little bit about this beautiful piece.
It's a theme that I like a lot. It's a woodland theme, and the idea of that was inspired initially by me doing the subject of St. Francis. And we all know, the story about St. Francis and his love of animals. And it's such a, I don't know, it's anybody who is sensitive to that sort of thing, likes that subject. Yeah. And I liked it a lot, and the pieces that I did on St. Francis, in my opinion, came out so successfully that I thought it would be nice to carry that theme over to other areas. In this case, Santa. I've done it with angels too, and I've even done it with the snowman. So here's an example here, and this is in full color. of woodland animals with Santa. He's holding a heart for obvious reasons. It imparts a message. And then you've got the quilt work.
Now, what's special about this particular design?
Okay, well, the quilt work, typically, all of these elements express something. Mm-hmm. And this will be a message to any quilters out there. 'Cause this is like the secret handshake of the club,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
No, it's these symbols mean things, and this is one of the iterations of the friendship circle of friends.
Okay.
Quilt pattern.
Wow.
So as you can see, it
does have a special
it's got
meaning.
a little bit of meaning, and as an introductory piece, or the first piece, I should say, in the Circle of Friends special, mm-hmm. Circle of Friends, it really has some meaning. So it's a piece that we'll continue this as a project too. So that is an exclusive collectible.
Just for the Circle of Friends. And we're going to answer a few questions from the audience because we always get inundated with questions from people out there. So Jan asks, you have so many talents, you always seem so incredibly busy. What do you do to relax?
Well, actually, that's a really good question, to tell you the truth. I don't relax very well, I gotta be honest with you.
Well, I tell everyone, I don't know when he sleeps. I really don't.
I like to stay busy. And relaxing to me has always meant like doing nothing, or loafing, and
that goes against your work ethic.
Well, my mind, is always going about one thing or another.
Sure.
And a lot of people, dream about doing things, or they come up with an idea. Oh, this would be cool. That would be nice. This would be neat. I wish, this and this and this. The difference is that. Not a lot of people really act on their thoughts, and so people are always amazed. Oh, you work so much, you create so much, you accomplish so much. How you do it? Well, I do it by just simply getting started and doing it rather than sitting around thinking about it.
Right.
And so I have a lot of different interests, and of course I love what I do, and I'm driven as an artist and have been ever since I was a little boy. To do these creative things. Yeah. And right now, of course, my focus for my business, and for the folks out there, is these figural pieces in general. Mm-hmm. And I love doing it, but I sort of look at that as kind of my work,
Sure.
Well, what I do, beyond that is a wide variety of interests that include, it might include, making furniture, mm-hmm. or it might include, some of my writing. Mm-hmm. It might include making things like, cutting boards and wall, art and paintings. I still do the occasional portrait. I like to make custom knives.
Really?
And and I like to do engraving and metal work and doing decorative iron work, and so it's a wide variety. Stained glass, I've done some fairly large stained glass projects that when we visit the house, you'll be able to see some of them because I got them at the house.
That'll be wonderful. I have seen some amazing furniture that he has done. He's shown me pictures on your mm-hmm. phone of some beautiful pieces.
So that's what I do, I guess, to relax. If you want to call it that, is I work on something different.
You just create something different.
It's. I have my time of sleeping. I work a little bit of eating in there, mm-hmm. and then the rest of the time I try to create something.
Always, and that's one of the things I love coming to this gorgeous studio. I'm always fascinated to see what his latest project is, because it's not just what you see here. He's got all these other little tiny things going on, or big things going on, and it's just a beautiful
like cups,
space.
For example.
Yeah. See, you're always thinking. Always. Well, next up, we're just going to give a quick sneak peek to something that's very special in 2017. Wow. Is the 15th anniversary of Heartwood Creek, and we have some beautiful pieces which we'll be sharing with everyone later on, but just wanted to touch briefly on this, if you want to share a few bits on these two pieces here.
Sure. These are, once again, Santa Clauses.
They're beautiful.
Somebody was talking about the Santa Clauses that I do on one of the signing trips, and of course, it's occurred to me that Santa creates a unique challenge, as do a lot of the subjects that I work on, because Santa has to be recognizable as Santa.
Right.
You can't change the character, and I've done hundreds and hundreds.
Thousands.
I have no idea how many. I've done a lot of them. Okay. But each one of them, I can't duplicate them. Each one of them has to be different than the last, or any of them. And it still has to, be recognizable as Santa, and it also has to be, have enough of my, artistic motif, you might say, to be recognizable as one of my pieces, because that's just the way I do.
Right, sure.
And so it creates a little bit of a challenge to remember everything I've ever done, so that I know what not to do.
I know, that just amazes me that you can do that.
It's a little bit of a mental exercise at the beginning.
Absolutely.
But anyway, this one here. Now this celebrates kind of a milestone here in my career as licensing, and the general features and the direction of the line is something I've done for a long time, but I've been licensing it with my friends at UNESCO for 15 years now, or coming on 15 years. So we started out in 2002 with the first introduction of some of the pieces that I had done. And now it's soon to be 2017, and so that's 15 wonderful years of putting this stuff out and sharing it with all of you.
And how beautiful that you've added a little bit of glitter, a little bit of detail. I love this little ornament that he's holding here, the little jewel.
I think it's a nice touch when you can do a little bit of multimedia stuff and have a little bit of movement there and a little bit of glitter with the jewels and so forth that we put in there. I think it's a nice touch, and here's the stained glass pattern on the as a quilt pattern.
Absolutely, and even the star has a little bit of a jewel in it. So I just think it's beautiful. It's very detailed, as all of your work is.
I think it's got a certain refined element to it, without losing the handmade quality of it, because you can actually see the cut marks in the what the original was, in it.
Exactly.
And sort of the same goes for the little one here. This is an ornament, of course.
Isn't that beautiful?
But I'll tell you what, I love this combination. Red and green, of course, is Christmas colors.
Of course.
But sometimes, the green against the red has just a certain nice effect, and it captures it in this piece. So here it is. This is, and there's a lot of detail in this piece. And once again, you got a little bit of
glitter, a little jewel. It's beautiful.
That's a piece that is coming up.
That's right. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing more of these to you in the not too distant future. So that's something very exciting that we'll be celebrating.
Right.
Okay, I've got another question for you. This is from Jody, and she says, do you have a complete listing of all your designs?
That's a good question, too.
That sounds impossible to me. I don't know how that would be possible.
To tell you the truth, as far as the pieces themselves, we have, if you all could see this shelf that's over here, it is
product is unbelievable.
It is full of, I don't know, several hundred pieces, maybe 1,000 pieces, I don't know. But we've got here at the studio examples of thousands of my work. Large and small. We've got some pieces that are 7 feet tall, and we've got some pieces that are little miniature things. So, and they're in just every subject you can imagine, and that's one of the things that I think keeps my interest peaked in doing what I do.
Yeah.
It's not just character driven. It's not one thing. It's not one subject, but it's a whole variety of subjects. And the styling, I sort of play with the styling too. Some of them are a little bit more refined. Some of them are a little bit more primitive, depending on how I feel that day, and whether it's a Monday or a Saturday. But as far as the entire collection, I don't have the entire collection.
I don't see how you could.
I've been in some locations and so forth that that have enormous collections, and I know that none of those are totally complete either. However, as I told you earlier, I make drawings of everything.
Right.
Well, after I get started on the creative process of actually, making the piece and getting that started, the drawing does not mean very much to me. I could throw it away and be perfectly happy.
Right.
My daughter, Robin, bless her heart, has saved every drawing I have ever made
That's a treasure.
since I started the line.
Wow, that would be incredible.
So we have just file cabinets full of thousands of these fairly detailed and complex drawings. A lot of them with notations, and so it's kind of interesting to look at, right?
It's an archive.
It is. It's an archive, and in fact, recently we did kind of a sort of a retrospective at Lander University, and we took 1,000 of the drawings and framed them all in certificate frames, and covered the Monsanto gallery over there,
Wow.
floor to ceiling, all the way around. And my daughter Sandy Singletary, who's a professor over there, had a big hand in that. And we had several hundred of my sculptures in there. You could come back into the studio and it didn't look like anything was missing.
I was going to say, you've got so many.
So anyway, so in answer to the question, I have a complete collection of all of the design work.
The drawings.
Yeah, the drawings, the initial drawings that I've ever done for this line. And I don't know exactly what we'll ever really do with those.
It'll be a family heirloom. Are you kidding me?
Oh, they'll be in a yard sale
It's
somewhere.
a treasure.
No, but
so humble.
no, we'll use some of them for the projects that I mentioned earlier.
Right.
Because even the Christmas card, if you'll show that again.
Mm-hmm.
See, that started out
As a drawing, probably.
Yeah, that started out as a drawing for a piece that I made.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that over there. So that's the way it works. So you'll be able to share in that too as we go along. But that's what it is. So out of the thousands of pieces, I don't have the physical pieces, but I do have the designs.
Right. And now we have an unveiling. This is something that's never been seen before, a brand new line that's in development, and we'll be sharing more of that in the new year.
Right.
But it's the Victorian Santa. So this is a beautiful piece, again, with just a touch of bling and glitter, not too much to go overboard, but beautiful design elements.
Well, I'll tell you what inspires this. The Victorian era, if you study it and look at the different designers and the artists that were prominent back then, and just the styling that makes it distinctively Victorian. And it was prominent in the architecture, in the furnishings, in the wallpaper, everything.
Fabrics, everything.
Everything. And that's what I draw from. Now, when I was a kid, my grandparents had a collection of old-fashioned greeting cards. I wish I had them today.
Oh, they probably would cost
but
a
I
fortune.
remember them so distinctly because I used to play with them.
Yeah.
Because I loved them. They were beautiful.
I bet they were beautiful.
And they had actually a lot of these type of colorations and a lot of elements that are similar to what I put into these as far as the renditions of the toys and that sort of thing, and also the glitter.
Oh.
The cards actually had glitter on them.
They had glitter even back then?
Yeah, and it made it look so Victorian. I thought, well, that's a must, So
Okay.
I have used this what we call sugar, sugar style glitter. It's a clear glitter, and it gives it just a little bit of, the color comes through, shines through it, but it gives it that extra special sort of, I don't know, elegance that you will find and the pieces, since they are Victorian, are a little bit more refined.
Yeah.
But now this pattern here is a pattern that I remembered seeing in a Victorian house years and years ago as a wallpaper. And I liked the pattern and I remembered it.
Right, it's a beautiful design.
My mind is a very cluttered place.
They have like a steel trap. Are you kidding?
But I can go into my mind and remember stuff like this, and it.
I mean, this is beautiful.
So I don't need very much reference generally because I remember
Yeah.
stuff. But that's where this came from.
Even the coloration.
Yeah, the coloration.
You know, the burgundies with the gray, the muted kind of colors.
Sort of a plum,
beautiful.
maroon is very indicative of the Victorian era.
Age.
So yeah, this is, I think, pretty well executed piece.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we'll show everyone where we started.
Yeah,
Here's the drawing.
That's the drawing, and you may very well see that on a greeting card one day.
Right, and then here's the rest of the process.
Yeah, I can go through the process quickly. It's give you a little peek as to how this thing works. Okay, here's the drawing that Valerie's showing you right there, and then we start either the carving or the sculpting or whatever we have to do to create the original piece. Because remember, what we do is we cast these duplicates, and that means you have to do everything relative to the mold making process. So what we do is we gradually work this thing up, as we do, and refining it and so forth until we get it exactly the way I want it to be. And in this case, that's exactly the way I want it to be. And then we're ready to make a mold, and we'll make an initial mold, and then the process is kind of lengthy. I mean, it's a hands-on process. It's basic. It's not an industrial process. It's a studio process. And we'll make the initial one out of a material that doesn't shrink, so that it's a perfect duplicate of what I've got here as my original. And then we'll make molds off of that, and then we'll make production pieces and so forth. And then when it comes out of the mold, we'll clean it all up, and we'll etch it and do some things to it and get it ready for painting. And then this piece here, as you can see, is the finished painting that is in line with the coloration that we determined on the drawing. Now, a lot of times you might see the background of that isn't
the right color.
Well, it's the right color for what we want to express.
All right.
We're expressing the design, not so much the color. What we'll do is say, okay, that design goes on there, and we'll darken this design, and then we'll put a plum background on it, and that we just
you add
express.
To that.
That's what we're going to do
at the end.
So that's a little part of the process too.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how many people are involved all along the way. I mean, this is a very complex, intricate, meticulous process.
Yeah, and as you know, we do so many pieces.
Right.
That it's an ongoing process, and like you said, there's an awful lot of very skilled people that I trust very much in the process, and they're as dedicated to making the piece as good as we can. And quality is always an issue, because when you get a piece, it might come out of a batch of maybe several hundred, but you don't care about that. You care about the one piece. So our quality control focuses on every single piece, because I want to be able to go in, pick up one piece randomly and say, this is good enough quality that I'd be proud to put my name on it.
Right.
That's the way I work.
No, and it's evident in everything you do that the quality behind your product is unbelievable, and I know that's because you care so greatly.
That's what I strive for.
Yes, and it's quite obvious. All right, one last question, but it's from me.
Okay.
What is Christmas like at your house?
Well, Christmas is one of our most favorite times. I mean, so much of my work revolves around Christmas-oriented.
That's what I thought. It's Christmas all year long.
I know.
In his studio, in his home, but
so, it's kind of expected of us to,
to really do it up.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, my lovely wife Jan is she's a force of nature when it comes to decorating. And I like to tell people, if you're in a house, and if whatever doesn't move gets decorated, So, but we put up generally 12 trees in the house.
12 trees.
And we put several outside, but all of them are lavishly decorated. Jan has a collection of ornaments, thousands of ornaments that she's collected over the years. Some of them are antiques that are just extremely valuable.
Wow.
Some of them are just little baubles from the dollar store. And we don't discriminate.
You don't discriminate, all kinds.
So, but Jan does a wonderful job of it. And we have, in my game room, we have one that's all fishing lures.
Oh.
And we have one that's a silver tree.
Oh, so they're thematic.
Yes. One that's, of course, we have purple tree. We've got to have that.
Of course you have to have a purple tree.
And then we have one Jim Shore tree where it's all, we've actually taken, Jan takes figurines, full-size figurines, wires them into the tree, and so it is covered.
That must be an enormous tree.
It is a big tree.
Ooh.
So it's, and it's pretty, it's pretty impressive.
I'm sure it is.
And she decorates the mantles, and she decorates the staircases, and she decorates everything. And of course, we all get together on Christmas morning. All the kids, the grandkids, the boyfriends, the girlfriends, we
the
have
extended family and friends.
And a little tradition that we do, Robin actually is in charge of this. I don't know where she gets them, okay? But somewhere or another, she has found a source for pajamas.
Oh no, everyone wears different
Everybody
pajamas.
wears the same type of
see
pajamas.
This.
And it might be, sometimes,
see.
yeah, no kidding. Sometimes it might be elves, it might be reindeers, you know.
How cute.
And so we're all, you know, we have the hats and stuff, you know, so, and we always get together on the staircase and have a family group picture.
How cute.
And we've collected these things over the years, and each year it's a different type of pajamas, so it's kind of fun. You know?
That is fun.
And then of course we exchange gifts, and we have a great Christmas meal just like we do on Thanksgiving.
Sure.
And so it's a wonderful time. You know, it's a wonderful time. But we never lose sight of the real meaning of Christmas, and we pay homage to you know, the birth of Jesus, which is the real celebration. And we do something that my dad used to do when we were kids, and we do it too. We'll read a Christmas story.
Oh, any particular one,
well,
or it's always different?
Sometimes it's the night before Christmas, you know, or some of the other ones that favorites of the kids, you know. And some of them are funny, you know. But then I'll take out the family Bible and read the birth story.
Oh, the nativity
story. Out of the King James version, because I like the flowery language.
Okay.
And so we all pray together, and it's just a wonderful day.
It sounds beautiful.
So it's a day that you know, that we can all be together and show our love for one another, and you know, celebrate the season with Santa Claus and with the real reason.
There you go.
So it's a great day.
There you go. Well, that sounds like a future show to me. Seeing his home, all the decorations, the fabulous trees. I think that's an inner circle of friends type show, don't you?
I'd have to have a hand in selecting the pajamas that we wear that year.
Okay. Well, Merry Christmas, John.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Valerie. And Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you and your family have a very rewarding Christmas and a New Year's to beat the band.
That's right. We'll see you in 2017.
Okay. Bye-bye.